So when we look at this recording here from the moon, basically on the Terminator line you'll see these very large openings occurring in these objects which appear to be just sitting on the Terminator line, and they look as though they're organic, um, using a scale that's half the radius of the moon, so that would be roughly 100 kilometers. The moon diameter is 3,500 k's or kilometers wide. Here we've got about half of it, so it's about 10 centimeters. 1 centimeter here is about 150 kilometers. So that object there that I was just pointing out is gigantic, and these objects sticking up along the Terminator line are virtually maybe 5 or 10 kilometers high. It is very unusual that they're all just flowering there. It seems to blossom there where when the sunlight reaches that area, gradually these just pop up. It is very, very unusual. And I've tried to zoom in on those pictures. It's 4th of October. Sydney time was 8 p.m. when I actually filmed that. And especially that large, huge object there and the colours that are coming out of that, and that cross-shaped object, the openings there look very, very deep. Now these openings are literally 10 kilometers wide. It doesn't make sense why they should be looking endlessly deep, and yet the rest of the moon is, they're very flat. So it appears as though they're opening up on the Terminator. It sounds ridiculous, but that's how it appears, obviously, and there's some tubes or tubular objects that are coming out of those large openings as well. So that's the area that I've zoomed in on the last few nights, and this is the first night that that very, very large object was fully lit with sunlight, and you'll see the beautiful colors coming out of it. When the shadow was on, it was actually more of a purple color. But from the scale, if that's the whole moon, you can tell that object is gigantic. It is at least 100 kilometers wide and 100 kilometers tall. It shouldn't be there. Those objects shouldn't be sticking up vertically right there. It just doesn't make sense. And all those openings look very, very deep, and they're all along the Terminator line. I don't think they're just shadows. All the other rounded craters are perfectly flat, and they look as though they're only a couple of hundred meters deep. These look endlessly deep, as though there are tunnels that have opened up, and these objects appear to have maybe come out of these openings. It just sounds too ridiculous. But here we go. We actually see these objects right there. It's a 50 Olympus camera. On this other shot, I've actually caught it and paused it just at the time where you'll see some color changes on this object again. Here it's reddish, yellow, and green. And again, you'll see these objects there as well. That huge object coming up there, and these rods sticking up from the openings. And just as I pause it there again, we'll see some more colors actually as they appear as well. So this object seems to be displaying quite a few colors there and quite a few shapes to it. So it's very hard to understand what's happening. When it's paused at this precise time, you'll see an object that appears to come out of that crater hole right there. There's a long vertical object there, and there's that large object again. There's that triangular cross shape there, and these objects standing up there on the Terminator line as well, on that a very large green object. That one seems to come up right there, the white one, and there's that object again. So it seems to be caught in various positions where the colors come up as being a white, first the purple, then the white, yellow, then a purple or brown at the end. So the color combinations seem to come up again if they're caught at the right time. there again. So it is very bizarre, obviously. And I'll quickly now put some of the pictures on there. There's that object again coming out of there, and that object there which is purplish there, and there it's red on top. So the difficulty is to try to get a nice clear focus on that object right there. Here we've got some more colors coming up again. You'll see that tube running across there, that very large entrance there, and then obviously that leads to these objects here. So I'll just place the pictures on now that I've taken. This is a zoom of the object. If I use this format, you can see the enlargements, and I'll try then to see the ridges on it, purple, whitish, yellow and purple. That whole thing should be about 100 kilometers high. See that twisting object there. One other shot. That's a good shot as well. Now I prefer to enhance the contrast on this. You'll see that object there, so I'll just pause it now to do that. I'll try it in this format as well. So in this format you'll see very good colors, which are very bizarre. And there's that cross-shaped object there. There's one other large object. There is again one other shot. There's the object there. One other shot there. It seems to show it there more square-like, and that curves over. Again, I'm not happy with the quality. I prefer to go and open this up in. These are the images which I've captured. I'll go through them quickly rather than enlarging them. The ones that I think I could see more detail, I'll just try auto adjust, but then it takes a bit more time to download. That's quite interesting. You'll see the objects come up from that area there. I'll see if I can enlarge them. Yes. Not that clear. I would prefer to have it clearer, so I'll just go through it again. That object coming up has a definite shadow to it. I might try auto adjust to see what happens to it. So it does come up, and there's the shadow of this object. That's quite interesting because you actually see it come up. Try auto adjust on it. What that could be, I don't know. That's a very interesting object there. There's that object again. Shadow, obviously there's a shadow there, so the object is obviously pretty tall. The scale we're looking at is obviously a few kilometers high. They're not small objects by any means. That was quite interesting. Shadow underneath. They look to be organic objects. In this picture you'll see objects that appear to come out of that hole there. I'll do auto adjust here to catch something. There's that object which we'll try to get more shape on at the end. So it's 2 days after we see it transform shape. There are these objects that appear to come over the edge out of that large crater, and might be able to adjust the exposure to get some sort of clarity on that. It's pretty hard. Try to adjust. That's an interesting object right there as well. Again, this is clearer. We see these objects appear to be coming out of that very large crater there, tubular objects, and that object coming up there. So I didn't expect to get it that clear actually. And you'll see there's objects in there. Tricky is to try to bring these objects up. And there it is there coming out. It's very dark purple. You've got the tubular objects coming out there, then up there as well. Very interesting, those ones. That's just a high zoom of it. There are those tubular things. That one's the interesting object that I zoomed in on. So there's quite a few of these bizarre objects on the Terminator line. I'm not sure if it's by accident or they actually pop up to absorb the sunlight. It just seems so strange this should be happening on the moon at such large scale. Just take it forward. This object there. This is an interesting object. Very interesting. There it's there. There's that object I'm trying to zoom in on tonight. So I'm trying to get some clearer resolution, but it's not easy. Some of the colors are starting to come up on this one. There's that bizarre object again, coming up. It's pretty clear. You can see the tube and then the object there. There's that very strange one, sitting right there. Here's the object that I'm trying to focus in on tonight. So you've got a definite shapes coming up. It is tall, it's very vertical. Here we've got a right angle, and here we've got the various shapes. There's a rectangle and a shadow. So we do have definite shadows there. The object tonight I managed to zoom in on, and you've got different colors coming up. So it's a very good shape, that one. It's a very interesting shape as well. On scale, it's slightly more than 100 kilometers high, which is a very difficult size to try to grasp. There we go. One forward. That's the object there again. And that cross-shaped object right there. This is unusual, that shape there as well. Now here we have those craters towards the end, and that tubular object seems to come out of that one. I'll see if I can do some sort of contrast enhancement on that one. It's a pretty clear image on that one there. There's that triangle shaped object. There are the objects there. Trying to get some contrast into it, and it does work to a limited extent. And these are the objects I'm trying to focus in on tonight. The colors actually do come up tonight on the 4th. of October. There's that object again, and we do get some sort of form to it here as well. There's that object on the end, which looks like it comes up there and there's a rounded sphere on that one. Now the interesting part is on that one, you'll see it looks like it's got two holes at the end there as well. In the structure right there, like two little holes. And there it is, there's one more strange object, which I do not know what it is. There it is again. Try the auto adjust quickly on it to make it easier. There's one more larger one at the end, that one there. There's that perfect cross type shape. Now if I can just fiddle around with that to get some more contrast out of it, it looks very interesting. Here we've got that bizarre object, which I try to play around with the colours a bit. There's a very large object there. That's why I try to zoom in on that object there. That's very important. And there's that very, very bizarre tall object right there. Let's get a bit forward. The strange thing is all the deep openings are actually there on the Terminator line. These objects are there. There it is. That's huge. That object is gigantic. Seen these before. We're coming down now to this one here again. Press auto adjust on that one. There are those strange objects popping up again. Try to fix up the color on that one and get some color out of it. I don't think I can. There's that very strange object which has a sphere on top of it. That's a large one there as well. Here we've got more color appearing on that object, so this is where I'm trying to fiddle around as much as I can with the contrast. This one's caught it at a very interesting clarity where I can sort of see the processes coming off it. That's a very good picture. That one shows the objects coming from the top. Very unusual as well. There's just a high zoom of that object down the bottom, that object there, that one there, it looks very interesting. And the ones that just stand up vertically there, and that's the Terminator line. It's all opening up with these very large craters that seem more like tunnels or very deep recesses rather than actually being craters. I mean, these would be 50 k's wide, so they shouldn't be that dark. They should be very shallow. That can't be explained, especially that object there. There's that object right there. This is a picture of that Terminator line that just shows these very, very bizarre objects from this angle as you go straight up. So on this one I could fiddle around with the exposure a bit, it might do something. There's that object that shows the colour, so I'm trying to work out what that is. There's a Terminator line again. We'll use auto contrast on it. Auto adjust on that one. There's that very large object again. I might be able to do something with the contrast and colour. This is where we get that very strange effect coming up of all of the various colours appearing. So I'm trying to get that as close as I can. It's not that easy. There it is there. There are the purple, white, yellow, brown colours. Could this be overlap? Could this be further back? But the colours of it are very fascinating, so I'm just not sure what to think about this.